The Seven Summits is a well-known mountaineering objective, the highest peaks on each of the 7 continents. Climbing to the summit of all of them is regarded as a mountaineering challenge, first achieved on April 30, 1985 by Richard Base. Let's go through what is called the base list. 7. Australia, Mount Kosciuszko 7,310 feet, 2,228 meters. Mount Kosciuszko is the highest mountain on the Australian continent, just slightly higher than nearby Mount Townsend. Located in the main range of New South Wales in Australia, Mount Kosciuszko is located in Kosciuszko National Park, which is part of the Australian Alps National Parks and Reserves. The Mount Kosciuszko area is the coldest and snowiest part of Australia, which is mostly an arid and hot continent. Snow covers the mountain from June through October, and the area hosts Australia's only ski areas, including Thredbo and Perisher ski resorts. Polish explorer Count Paweł Edmund Strzelecki, famous for his exploration of Australia, named Mount Kosciuszko in 1840 in honor of Polish hero General Tadeusz Kosciuszko, who joined the American Army during the Revolution, eventually rising to the rank of general. Kosciuszko was a defensive expert who created fortifications for Saratoga, Philadelphia, and West Point, and in later years urged that the military academy be situated at West Point. He is also a close friend of both George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. 6. Antarctica, Mount Vinson 16,067 feet, 4,897 meters. Mount Vinson is the highest mountain on the continent of Antarctica, on the Vinson Massif. Vinson Massif is a large massif in Antarctica that is 13 miles long and 8.1 miles wide. Vinson Massif was discovered in January 1958 by U.S. Navy aircraft. Mount Vinson rises over 750 miles from the South Pole. In 1961, the Vinson Massif was named by the Advisory Committee on Antarctic Names, USACAN, after Carl Vinson, United States Congressman from the state of Georgia, for his support for Antarctic exploration. He was known as the father of the two-ocean navy. His name is also named for a famous aircraft carrier, the USS Carl Vinson. It was first climbed in 1966 by an American team led by Nicholas Clinch. An expedition in 2001 was the first to climb via the eastern route, and also took GPS measurements of the height of the peak. As of February 2010, 1,400 climbers have attempted to reach the top of Mount Vinson. 5. Europe, Mount Elbrus 18,510 feet, 5,642 meters. Elbrus has 2 summits, both of which are dormant volcanic domes. The name of Mount Elbrus is derived from Alborz, which in turn comes from a mountain in Persian mythology. This translates to High Sentinel. Mount Elbrus could be considered the highest mountain in Europe, notwithstanding the fact that Caucasus Mountains are at the intersection of Europe and Asia, in southern Russia, near the border with Georgia. The first West Summit in 1874 was by a British expedition led by Crawford Grove, an English mountaineer and author, and was at one time president of the Alpine Club. In 1997, Russian adventurer Alexander Abramov led an expedition that drove a vehicle to the top of Mount Elbrus, making it the highest mountain climbed by a vehicle. The 10-man team drove a Land Rover to the Barrels, a group of huts on a rocky road. Above that, they struggled for 43 days using tire chains and winches to haul the Land Rover to the summit. The vehicle literally broke apart, so the team constantly descended for parts. On September 13, 1997, they reached the top and drove around the summit plateau. After that, one of the drivers attempted to drive down but lost control and had to bail out. The vehicle plummeted down and came to rest on rocks where it still sits. 4. Africa, Mount Kilimanjaro 19,340 feet, 5,895 meters. Mount Kilimanjaro is considered the tallest freestanding mountain in the world, rising 15,100 feet from base to summit. The meaning and origin of the name Kilimanjaro is thought to be a combination of the Kilima, meaning mountain, and the Njaro, loosely translated as whiteness, giving the name White Mountain. Mount Kilimanjaro is a dormant volcano in North Tanzania, near the border with Kenya. It is the highest mountain in Africa. The mountain is part of the Kilimanjaro National Park and is a major climbing destination. The first people known to have reached the summit of the mountain were Hans Meyer, a German geographer, and Ludwig Purtzkeller, an Austrian mountaineer and teacher, in 1889. Kilimanjaro has 2.2 square kilometers of glacial ice and is losing it quickly due to global warming. The glaciers have shrunk 82% since 1912 and declined 33% since 1989. It may be ice-free within 20 years, dramatically affecting local drinking water, crop irrigation, and hydroelectric power. Climbing Kilimanjaro requires no technical climbing or mountaineering experience. It is just a long trek from base to summit. Some parts of the mountain require basic scrambling skills. It is the Barranco Wall, but in general, anyone with decent fitness can climb Kilimanjaro. 3. North America, Denali, also known as Mount McKinley, 20,320 feet, 6,194 meters. Denali, formerly known as Mount McKinley, is the highest mountain in North America, the United States, and Alaska. Located in the Alaska Range in the interior of the U.S. state of Alaska, Denali is the centerpiece of Denali National Park and Preserve. The Koyukon people who inhabit the area around the mountain have referred to the peak as Denali for centuries, means the high one. In 1896, the gold prospector named it Mount McKinley in support of then presidential candidate. That name was the official name from 1917 until 2015. In August 2015, the state of Alaska, the United States Department of the Interior announced the change of the official name of the mountain to Denali. The first verifiable ascent to Denali's summit was achieved on June 7, 1913, by climbers Hudson Stuck, Harry Karstens, Walter Harper, and Robert Tatum, who went by the south summit. In 1951, Bradford Washburn pioneered the West Buttress route, considered to be the safest and easiest route, and therefore the most popular currently in use. Denali has a vertical relief of 18,000 feet, greater than Mount Everest when measured from the 2,000-foot lowlands at its base to its 20,320-foot summit. Everest's vertical rise is about 12,000 feet. This is a greater vertical rise than Mount Everest's 12,000-foot rise from its base at 17,000 feet. 2. South America, Aconcagua 22,829 feet, 6,962 meters. The Spanish pronunciation of the mount is Aconcagua, with a summit elevation of 6,962 meters, is the highest mountain in both the southern and western hemispheres. It is located in the Andes mountain range, in the Mendoza province, Argentina, 15 kilometers from the international border with Chile. Aconcagua is the highest point in the Andes, the world's longest mountain range, stretching over 7,000 kilometers in a narrow band along the west edge of South America. The origin of the name is contested. It is either from the Aconcagua, which refers to the Aconcagua River and means comes from the other side, or Aconcagua, meaning sentinel of stone, or Aconcagua, meaning white sentinel. The first known ascent of Aconcagua was during an expedition led by Edward Fitzgerald in the summer of 1897. Swiss climber Matthias Zurbriggen reached the summit alone on January 14 via today's normal route. A few days later Nicholas Lanty and Stuart Vines made the second ascent. These were the highest ascents in the world at that time. The most well-known is the northeastern or Polish Glacier, as it is a common route of ascent. In March 2008, François Beaune made a speed-flying descent of Aconcagua's 9,000-foot high south face in 4 minutes and 50 seconds. Speed flying is a blend of free skiing and high-speed paragliding. Beaune later said, "I fell from the sky along the walls." And number 1. Asia, Mount Everest 29,035 feet, 8,850 meters. Mount Everest is Earth's highest mountain above sea level, located in the Mahalangur Himal sub-range of the Himalayas. Mount Everest is known in Nepali as Sagarmatha, meaning Goddess Mother of Snows, and in Tibetan as Komalungma, meaning Mother of the Universe. The international border between Nepal, which is province number 1, and China, which is Tibet Autonomous Region, runs across its summit point. It means that there are usually 2 routes to ascent, the southeast ridge from Nepal and from the northeast ridge from China. There followed an argument between China and Nepal as to whether the official height should be the rock height, 8,844 meters, China, or the snow height, 8,848 meters, Nepal. In 2010, an agreement was reached by both sides that the height of Everest is 8,848 meters, and Nepal recognizes China's claim that the rock height of Everest is 8,844 meters. In 1865, Everest was given its official English name by the Royal Geographical Society, upon a recommendation by Andrew Waugh, the British Surveyor General of India. As there appeared to be several different local names, Waugh chose to name the mountain after his predecessor in the post, Sir George Everest, despite George Everest's objections because native people could not pronounce it. The first successful ascent was by Sir Edmund Hillary of New Zealand and Tenzing Norgay of Nepal on May 29, 1953. They had to use supplemental oxygen as the air was too thin, meaning that the oxygen in the air up there is just 1/3 of that at sea level. That's why you can see Tenzing Norgay wearing an oxygen mask in the picture. But in 1978, Reinhold Messner and Peter Haviler were the first to climb Mount Everest without supplemental oxygen. Messner later described his summit experience: "In my state of spiritual abstraction, I no longer belong to myself and to my eyesight. I am nothing more than a single narrow gasping lung, floating over the mists and summits." In 1980, Reinhold Messner made the first solo ascent, which was via a new route on the mountain's north side. Total number of ascents. As of January 2017, a total of 7,646 ascents of Mount Everest have been made by 4,469 different climbers. The difference in the two numbers are due to multiple ascents by climbers, many of them are Sherpas. Total deaths. Since the year 2000, an average of almost 7 people per year die on Mount Everest. Through 2016, a total of 282 climbers, 168 Westerners and others and 114 Sherpas, have died on Mount Everest between 1924 and 2016. Of those deaths, 176 occurred on the Nepalese side of the mountain and 106 on the Tibetan side. Deaths commonly occur from exposure to weather, avalanches, icefall, and altitude-related illnesses. The most famous death body on the trail up from Camp 4 to the summit that every climbers must see and step over is called the Green Boots of Mount Everest. Most tragic day on Mount Everest. The single most tragic day on Mount Everest was April 18, 2014, when a massive avalanche killed 16 Sherpa guides in the Khumbu icefall above Everest Base Camp in Nepal while they were fixing a route through the deadly icefall. The Sherpa guides then ended the climbing season. The earthquake and avalanches on April 25, 2015, also might be listed as the most tragic day, killing 21 on Everest. Please like and subscribe button below. Or click the bell symbol to be alerted of new video every day from Top 5. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe button below. Or click the bell symbol to be alerted of new video every day from Top 5. Thank you for watching.